This is an investigative news report on one of the most intensely debated rises to fame in modern television history. When vocalist Christmas was officially announced as the winner of Britain's Got Talent in 2024, the outcome was framed by broadcasting networks as the ultimate ending for an aspiring performer. However, our deep dive into the immediate aftermath of that live broadcast reveals a starkly different reality behind the curtain. Within mere minutes of the golden confetti falling across the stage, online platforms erupted with widespread controversy regarding her personal and professional background. Viewers across the country began demanding immediate transparency from producers, actively questioning whether the competition was genuine or if the television audience had been presented with a heavily curated narrative designed to drive ratings. To millions watching at home, the performance appeared flawless, but behind the scenes, a massive media storm was already brewing. The sheer speed at which public admiration transformed into intense skepticism sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry, raising urgent questions about how reality television formats manage contestant histories in the digital age. As news outlets rushed to cover the story, one central question began to emerge. Was Christmas a genuine underdog who earned her place through sheer perseverance, or was the public witnessing a broadcast television orchestration? To understand how high the stakes really were during those critical first hours, we must examine the specific events that led to her controversial audition and the mounting pressure that threatened to derail her career before it officially began. To properly evaluate the controversy surrounding her television debut, our news team conducted a thorough examination of Christmas's career timeline prior to her appearance on national television. For over a decade leading up to her audition, repeatedly attempted to break into London's prestigious West End theatre district, facing a continuous cycle of auditions, callbacks, and ultimate rejections. Employment records and industry sources confirm that during these formative years, she was forced to rely on low-wage shift work, zero-hour contracts, and temporary hospitality jobs simply to cover her basic living expenses in one of the most expensive cities in the world. Far from living a privileged life of luxury, her daily routine consisted of working grueling late-night shifts, followed by early morning vocal auditions where casting directors routinely turned her away. Those close to her situation confirm that her decision to apply for Britain's Got Talent was not a calculated career move by an established professional, but rather a final, high-stakes gamble born out of sheer desperation. Having reached a point of complete financial and emotional exhaustion, she had quietly resolved that if this national audition failed to yield results, she would permanently step away from the music industry and pursue a conventional career path. When she finally walked onto the audition stage, she was carrying the weight of a decade's worth of professional disappointment. However, the moment the judges responded to her performance, her life changed overnight, not only opening the door to unprecedented opportunity, but also exposing her to a level of public scrutiny and criticism that no amount of private struggle could have possibly prepared her to handle. The central point of contention in television journey began the moment Judge Holden reached across the panel and pressed the golden buzzer, automatically sending her directly to the live semifinals. Almost instantaneously, a coordinated wave of online backlash targeted the production, with vocal critics pointing out her prior appearances in regional stage shows and cruise ship entertainment programs. Media monitoring data shows that within hours, social media platforms were flooded with accusations alleging that she was an industry plant, a seasoned professional secretly placed into the competition by producers to manufacture an emotional narrative for television viewers. Tabloid headlines quickly capitalized on the outrage, publishing sensationalized articles that openly questioned the integrity of the voting system and demanded that show executives address the claims directly. Reputable media outlets were forced to join the conversation, investigating whether broadcast producers had provided with preferential song selections, superior staging setups, or unfair promotional focus compared to non-professional contestants. The relentless media coverage created an environment of intense psychological pressure, turning what should have been the highlight of her career into a defense campaign. Industry experts noted that the level of toxicity directed toward online was unusually high, even for the volatile world of reality television. Behind closed doors, team members expressed genuine concern over the toll the nonstop criticism was taking on her mental health. Yet, despite the growing noise, the live television broadcasts were fast approaching, leaving her with no option but to step back into the spotlight. With millions of viewers tuning in and media scrutiny reaching an all-time high, stepped onto the stage for the live semi-final and final broadcasts under unprecedented conditions. Broadcast analytics reveal that her live performances generated some of the highest audience engagement metrics of the entire television season, demonstrating a clear divide between online critics and the broader viewing public. Rather than altering her approach or addressing the rumors directly, delivered a series of raw, technically flawless vocal performances that dominated the airwaves. Her choice of song for the grand finale, a powerful rendition of Somewhere Over the Rainbow, was widely praised by music commentators for its emotional restraint and undeniable vocal control. When the final votes were tallied live on air, the results were decisive. Secured a landslide victory, capturing a commanding percentage of the total public vote despite weeks of negative media coverage. Independent media analysts noted that her ability to perform at an elite level, while under severe psychological pressure, effectively neutralized her loudest critics, proving that her appeal extended far beyond television production tricks. By winning over the voting public through sheer vocal talent, she successfully turned the tide of public opinion in her favor. However, as the television cameras turned off and the confetti was swept away, was immediately confronted with the next major challenge of her career, proving that she could translate a temporary reality show victory into a viable, long-term commercial recording business. Immediately following her grand finale win, corporate record label executives moved with extreme speed to capitalize on her newly elevated public profile. Industry documentation shows that was signed to a major recording contract within days of the broadcast, with executives ordering the immediate production of her debut album, My Way. To take advantage of the post-show media momentum, the label imposed an extraordinarily tight production timeline, forcing into intense studio sessions while simultaneously managing an exhaustive schedule of national television appearances, radio interviews, and promotional press junkets. Music industry insiders report that the physical strain of this relentless workload quickly took a toll on her voice, raising serious medical concerns regarding vocal fatigue and long-term damage to her vocal cords. Her daily schedule routinely stretched over 16 hours, leaving minimal time for rest or proper vocal recovery. Despite these difficult working conditions, label executives pushed forward, prioritizing a fast commercial release over creative exploration. While the debut album achieved strong initial sales figures driven by her television, media commentators began to openly question whether the aggressive release strategy was designed for long-term artistic growth or short-term financial exploitation. The intense pressure of meeting corporate deadlines while attempting to process her sudden rise to fame left physically exhausted and emotionally drained, setting the stage for a critical confrontation regarding the future direction of her music career and her personal autonomy as an artist. As the initial wave of publicity surrounding her album release began to cool, music industry analysts began raising fundamental questions regarding its long-term commercial strategy. Historical data tracking reality show winners over the past 2 decades indicates a consistent pattern. Artists who rely exclusively on cover songs almost invariably suffer a rapid decline in public interest once the television cycle moves on to a new season. Recognizing this structural threat, industry insiders reveal that made a calculated, quiet decision to step back from the traditional talent show playbook. Rather than accepting another round of pre-selected cover tracks from label executives, she began taking active steps to assert creative independence. Reports indicate that she quietly initiated studio sessions with established songwriters and producers, focusing specifically on developing original material that reflected her personal experiences rather than television tropes. This strategic pivot was met with initial skepticism from traditional music executives, who argued that abandoning familiar vocal standards carried a high financial risk. Rumors circulated within the industry about tense negotiations regarding her artistic direction and the commercial viability of her original compositions. However, remained resolute, refusing to be categorized simply as a television vocalist. By choosing to prioritize creative authenticity over safe, corporate-approved cover albums, she initiated a fundamental transformation in her career, one that would ultimately determine whether she could break free from the traditional constraints of the talent show model and establish herself as a respected, self-sustaining recording artist. Our latest reporting confirms that Christmas's transition into her new music era represents a complete break from her talent show persona. Creative directors and production teams working closely with the artist confirm that her latest body of work features deeply personal songwriting that directly addresses the intense public backlash, invasive media scrutiny, and physical burnout she endured during her rapid rise to fame. By taking direct control over her creative assets, music videos, and live performance arrangements, she has successfully established firm boundaries with commercial management. Sources indicate that she actively pushed back against label demands for rushed touring schedules, insisting instead on a strategic rollout that prioritizes vocal sustainability and artistic integrity. This shift in operational control marks a pivotal moment in her career evolution, transitioning her from a contestant operating within a broadcast contract to an executive decision-maker directing her own commercial brand. Industry observers point out that her willingness to challenge standard recording contract practices is exceptionally rare for a reality television winner, signaling a new level of maturity and business acumen. The visual and sonic direction of her upcoming projects reflects a far darker, more authentic aesthetic, moving away from glossy TV production values in favor of raw, narrative-driven storytelling. By confronting her past struggles head-on through her original music, is actively asserting her true identity in an industry that tried to define her. In conclusion, the trajectory of Christmas's career offers a compelling case study in the dynamics of modern celebrity, media narrative management, and artistic resilience. From overcoming a decade of professional rejections in London's theatre district to surviving a wave of online controversy and intense press scrutiny, she has consistently demonstrated a rare ability to perform under extreme pressure. Her decision to challenge traditional record label expectations and take full ownership of her creative identity marks a decisive departure from the typical post-reality show career path. While the music industry remains notoriously unpredictable and filled with commercial risks, her strategic shift toward original, narrative-driven music positions her to build a sustainable, long-term independent of television broadcasting networks. As she steps fully into this new era of her career, Christmas has proven that public perception can be reshaped through authentic artistry, resilience, and unwavering dedication to one's craft. She no longer stands as a controversial contestant on a television stage, but as a fully realized recording artist controlling her own destiny. We will continue to monitor her progress as her latest work makes its impact across the global music landscape.